Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in for today. My name is Maya Simone, and I am the host of Behind the Lens, where I get the chance to talk to different creatives from around the world, talking about their process, their journey, and we'll have some tutorials on the way soon as well on this YouTube page. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification button so you don't miss a thing. So today I have one of my great friends who has been a creator since he was a child, obviously, but we've been working together for the past 7, 8 years or so. And we wrote a project together that we just finished editing, and we're beginning to plan for a premiere for it and begin to shop around for it. But yeah, I'm so excited to introduce you all to my friend Joel Boyd, who I'm going to bring to the stage. Hi, Joel.
What's up, Maya? How you
How are
doing?
you? Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, it's crazy. 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
My gosh, we
Yeah.
were Hollywood babies.
Yeah.
Baby.
Still growing in different facets of our lives.
Yeah, we're like toddler
Oh,
teens now. I think
yeah. We're teens now, right?
we're like preteens. Hollywood preteens.
We went through the puberty stage prayerfully
I guess.
already. But anyway, thank you so much for joining. I wanted to talk to you because I really have valued your creative process over the years. And I know it has evolved and changed, but I always admired your consistency in sticking to your craft, learning, writing always, and just always challenging yourself to become a better creative and
Thank you.
um, all around person in general. So, yeah, I just want to talk to you today. But first, tell everybody who you are and your amazing accolades because you have a few. So,
Sure, of course. Um, by day, I'm known. No, that is kind of true though. By day, I'm usually on a set or teaching somewhere, and comedy. I've been a writer. I've been blessed to be a writer and producer professionally in Hollywood for the past 7, 8 years, um, and written for all kinds of stuff. Things on TBS, which is where we met. Um,
yes.
HBO, Max, Netflix, and yeah, and been blessed to be an actor that's been working and been on the Shy on Showtime. A lot of people know me from that,
Hmm.
um, and yeah, I was lucky enough to and I shouldn't say lucky. I guess I should say my hard work and my connections and just trying to keep my head on straight brought me an Emmy nomination.
Yes, it did.
As a writer and producer last year for working with LeBron's company with Recipe for Change, a great,
Hmm.
great episode about celebrating Black men. Uh,
Hmm.
Rel and Joey Badass and Kev on stage and yeah, Kendrick Sampson is a great episode. And yeah, so I guess I say, but all that to say, at night, uh, I'll try to get on stage. Not try, I guess I should say, but I get on stage and I'm stand up and improv and just hungry to always be making stuff.
As far as your comedic stand up journey, how has that been for you? I know it can probably be a tough road to navigate, especially in, you know, ever changing climates of, political climate, societal climate. So how have you navigated through the terrain, but also making sure you're staying true to yourself when you're writing your jokes and your stories?
Mhm. That's a good question. I think your instincts.
Hmm.
Like I, funny enough, the industry has changed so much, but at the end of the day, a laugh is a laugh. Like it doesn't. It kind of doesn't matter how you get there. Obviously, you don't want to offend people. I know we live in a very like you know, there's people that are for PC culture, there are people that are against it. There are people that are like, you should be able to be funny no matter who's offended, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously there's a way to make a smart joke without offending anybody. But yeah, there's also different sides of the coin. Um, but yeah, it's definitely been a journey of just kind of seeing like my favorites, and like
Mm-hmm.
the reason I started doing it was like learning about uh like what Richard Pryor was doing like surgically to
Mm-hmm.
people's minds in the 60s, and like why that was so important.
Mm-hmm.
And like George Carlin, and like, you know, just those people that were really doing kind of like mental surgery on America. I think that's where I kind of fell in love with like, oh, you can do that. You can like, you know, pick apart society and kind of show them something that they're not even aware that they're doing. And I think it's the pendulum has just swung so far into the other direction of like, um, you know, now the goal is to get followers and like to have people agree
Right.
with you immediately, to the point where now there's a whole sector of comedians who are like taking sort of like a political stance because they know there's a whole fan base attached to it. So they're
Yeah.
willing to like say certain jokes and like be and make certain things and put their whole internet personality as that thing, just because
Mm-hmm.
they know like, oh, I'm gonna get like 90,000 followers off of this
Right.
just because I made that joke. Like, and I see it, and it's interesting and it's weird, you know. But I think I just try to stick to my instincts, and like, you know, usually when I feel something is worth saying or is just funny to me, I'll just, you know, I still like obsessively write it down. Like this morning, I was in the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
and I thought of a new punchline to this joke I've been working on, and I just had to write it down. Just like, you
Yeah,
know, try to follow my instincts.
that's
Yeah.
really good. How do you feel, for people that may be starting out in comedy or just starting out, in writing or just finding your voice, how have you found your creative voice, over the past, even in LA? Well, no, you've done comedy even before you came to LA. So talk a little bit about your
Yeah.
journey from where you live to where you are now, and then just how even that has helped you uh formulate and specify your creative voice.
Yeah. Um, I think you're always okay. I was talking to one of my homies about this the other night. We were at backstage at a comedy club,
Mhm.
and I was telling him, I was like, I think there's two types of artists. I think there's two types of brands. I
Mm.
think there's the type where you figure out what you sound like, and then you commit so hard to that like
Mhm.
everything that you put out, people flock to it because they know who that is and how it sounds,
Mhm.
and like they're always going to be there to buy that product. You know what I mean? Because it always comes from that part of that, whatever your persona is. They're like, oh, I like this person's the way they see the world, and I'm going to show up to buy that ticket or purchase that album or whatever, you know, whatever that artist is doing.
Mhm.
And then I guess a good example of that is like Kevin Hart a little bit. It's like he kind of plays Kevin Hart and everything, you know, very consistent brand. But I
Yeah.
think somebody there's the other brand where I feel like they're evolving, and they'll kind of like kill off that old personality
Mhm.
and rebirth every time and sound a little bit different than they did the last time you saw them. And
Mhm.
you're showing up because you want to know, like, oh, what do they sound like now? What are they going to do now? And I feel like, at least to me, I'm just like, that's a little bit more, you know, like Prince or I think, you know, Tyler the Creator will kind of kill off a persona and then give you a whole new one the next time you see him.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think at least for me, like where I started in Milwaukee, I was a teenager when I started doing comedy, and like, you know, I don't know what the hell I was talking about.
Right.
I, you know, I was like trying to make fun of myself for girls and being nerdy and stuff like that, and going to church. Like all the comedy that ensues from being raised in church and going to black churches and all of that.
Absolutely, yes.
There's so much comedy there. But yeah, I think when I moved to Chicago, I went to college, and then I moved to LA. It was always just like, I don't know if I consciously killed a persona, and except once I think I did. But I think it's just always kind of like, I think now, I guess I would say I'm aware of like, oh, when I go on stage, I want to sound like me and only stuff that I can talk about, and like what I think is funny or interesting. Whereas when I was like 15 and I started, and I think so many comedians do it now, or just artists in general. We all do it. We try to sound like the greats.
Yes.
You probably should when you first start off. Like, I think my comedic rhythm was very similar to Eddie Murphy or Chris Rock, or like, like when I first started, I was like, oh, I sound like these guys, and that's probably fine. It took me a while to kind of be like now I'm very aware of like, oh no, when I step on stage, like I want to sound like me. So it's taken a long time,
Yeah. No, I get that for sure. And then as far as the comedy scene, and I don't know if they're different, because you were also going to Chicago a lot, because you were living in Wisconsin at one point.
Yeah, I did. But then I went to school in Chicago, so I was there. I lived in Chicago for like 5-6 years. Yeah. So yeah, highly recommend. That's a great place to like do anything with art. But the comedy scene in Chicago, a lot of really original voices come out of Chicago. Deion Cole and Lil Rel. It's like, just niche. Like it's a very weird place to do comedy because but it's just, I think the most original voices spend time there.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think it's different than is there a major difference between the comedy scene in Chicago versus LA?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, just culturally, like, there's a lot of like regular people in Chicago.
Right.
People that just came out to the bar to grab a beer with their friends, and oh, there's a comedy show. Oh, there's a comedy show down the street. Let's go. Oh man, that sounds fun. So, like, crowds in Chicago, like you can't fake the funk. You know what I mean? Like they come out and they real people, like they're not even middle America. They're in a city. They're in the biggest city in the Midwest.
Yes.
So like that's why I think a lot of originality comes out of Chicago, because you got miles and miles and miles and miles until you get to the East Coast. You got miles and miles and miles and miles until you get to LA. So people are just trying stuff, like whether that's musically or artistically. Chefs are doing weird stuff, you know what I mean? Like the food in Chicago, it's all like this like original mix of people just like, yo, I'm trying this out. Like LA is so like, you should have that stuff already figured out. Now it's time to sell, you should be ready to be booked on, they don't even shoot the Tonight Show in LA anymore, but you should be ready to book the Tonight Show. You should already have your 5-6 minutes. You should know who you are. Now you should have your scripts ready. It's like LA is so like, are you ready to sell or are you not? Move aside. And crowds are like that too. Like crowds literally treat you like, I used to make a joke about this. I still do sometimes. I'll be like, I have to say stuff in the LA crowd that I never have to say other places. I'll be like, yo, y'all, nobody in here is a casting director. Stop. None of y'all in here are gonna cast me. Okay. Stop acting like, oh, is he gonna make it? I don't know. Is he?
Right.
Am I gonna put him on the Netflix? Is he a series regular though? Is he of star quality? I don't know. People should laugh at that. I don't know if he's gonna make it. So,
Right.
I'm like, I'll be like, bro, I'll bust y'all in the mouth. Like, I try to turn. Whenever I do a show in LA, I try to turn the audience into a Chicago audience. Like,
Okay.
I'll say something that puts them in the moment so that they know, yo, this is live. Like,
Yeah.
this is tonight. Like, this is never gonna happen again. You,
it's happening right now.
this girl, yeah, like homegirl that just walked in with the striped green sweater on. I'll do something wild just to let you know, like, nah.
Yeah. This is real as it gets today.
Try to make you feel like you walked on the train on the red line in Chicago. Like, for some reason, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll make you feel a little dangerous, like you messed up. I should have sat this close to the stage.
I should have sat in the back. Girl, this
Man, it is crazy.
No, I love that. And because it's like, yeah, within LA culture in certain sectors, I'm not gonna say all of LA, but yeah, just the Hollywood thing. It's just like to your point. Are you ready to sell? Are you ready to make this money today? Are you ready to do all these things? And I wonder if there just hasn't, people aren't really not allowed, but feel like they can't just try new things or do new things because they are thinking of money, or they're thinking of, how do I get on with this person, or somebody just walked in, I need to be able to connect with them. Like, how do you think, that can, deter new and upcoming either writers or, comedy writers or, stand-up comedians or what have you? Like, how do you feel like that can deter people from trying new things and being innovative within this space?
As you were saying that, like, I think one of the beautiful things about coming up in the Chicago comedy scene was like, and just the culture of Chicago is community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody for that 6 months, sometimes it's 6 months, the winter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, from like September to like March is like, it could snow. So
Right.
so everybody is like in it together, you know what I mean? Like, we're all on the train shivering. And so by the time we get to the show or the party or the bar, we ready. Like, we turn it up. Like it's 22 degrees. Let's go. Like, people are so ready for something cool to happen. But in LA, I think just like the fact that everybody there is there for the industry. A lot of people are there for the industry, and it's a beautiful 72 every day. And everybody lives in their car.
Yeah.
So it's a little weirdly competitive, and like, you just feel isolated, and like, it's my car versus your car and all this. It can feel like that a little bit, and I think just the culture, because of that, all those factors, it can kind of create sometimes. Like, I've done shows. And this happens no matter where you are. I don't want to say LA is the only place where this happens.
Yeah.
But LA specifically, I've done jokes and like performances where I know what I'm doing is funny.
Yeah.
And somebody, like other comics, won't laugh because they know it's like a weird that competitive thing in their mind of like, oh, if I let this man know he's funny, like, that's just one more, that's a couple more, that's too much energy for him. Like, I'm helping his career. If I laugh hard at this girl, like, she gonna something. Oh, let me hold back and just let this person
Wow.
Said silently for 5 minutes. And I've been up there like, yo, I know y'all are doing it. And I don't even call them out.
Yeah, I know I'm killing it, and you're not even giving me any energy at all.
Anything. And they know they're doing it. Like I'm generous. Like when I think a joke is funny, I'm gonna let you know. If it's not, I'm gonna let you know too. I'm gonna be quiet. But if even like I'm just not like that. Like I think coming out of Chicago, it's like, and I'm sure there's other comedy scenes like that where it helps you and everybody in there to like genuinely be a part of the community. Like genuinely, like when I leave LA open mics or shows, even if I don't know the comic, and I've had people do this to me and it inspires me, like they'll be like, that joke that you told about like the Constitution, like I think it'd be funny if you went off on this tangent and through that, like do a callback to the thing you said about your mom. Like, what if this part was that and it connected? Like, bro, that's funny. And they'll just walk off. And I'll be like, yo, that person, I remember that. I'll never forget that person.
Right. Because they helped.
They're creating community just by, and it makes
Exactly.
everybody better. It just makes everybody better. And I don't think for some reason, the competitive nature of LA, it doesn't really create that. So when somebody brings that, it's special. It's like I could count on one hand who those comedians are and those people who wake me up and be like, oh, we're all here to like to make art and open each other's minds and express something important, so I don't know. Have you do you feel like that at all with LA, like coming out, because you were in Philly area for a while? Did you come straight? But you went to college somewhere else, right?
Right. So I went to a college in a suburban town called Indiana in Pennsylvania. Right. So weird when people be doing that stuff. Like there's a college in Pennsylvania called like California State of blah blah blah, and it's just like, why do y'all be doing that? Anyway, so I came straight from college to LA, and but I just feel as though like how God has led me to certain things and being around people, it's always been like, okay, I need to be around community. So I need to be like, that's always been my mission, no matter where I've been. So I need to be around support. So, whether it's through a church or whether that's through, joining some group of some sort, that was always my thing. So when I first moved out here, within a year, I met my group of people, and we've been cool ever since for the past 10 years or so. So I think my thing that I've always heard within being LA is it's hard to make community. It's hard to be with community. It's hard to make friends. And for me, I'm just like, my thought was always just, it's kind of easy just because how my personality is, it doesn't allow for anything negative or anything not supported to be around me for long. So it's just a matter of situations can happen, and I may not talk to people, I may not see somebody or talk to them for a while, and then I'm like, oh, where's so and so go? And it just naturally, disintegrated just because of who I am as a person, not because we had like a harsh conversation, or which I've had, but not a lot, because I think people just automatically are like, okay, she's like this, and either she's too happy or she's too assertive, or whatever the case has been, and I'm gonna just bow out. But that's the thing I always heard, is just it's hard to build community out here, which I think it can be challenging, but not impossible. But
I mean, you could just walk right into that Scientology building and just kind of make all your dreams come true. I mean, like it's there, man, and it's everybody's there, and
ciao,
you need is in there. So you kind of I did feel like that though when I landed in LA. I remember that everybody says, I don't know if it's still true, but when I was there, everybody says this: the first year is the hardest.
Yeah,
you heard that before?
I don't know if I heard it. I know I experienced it though.
Okay, but it's like a thing people say.
Yeah, I think but it is true because you're away from home, and thankfully I had family here. A lot of people don't.
Yeah,
they're moving in, with strangers. I just met this man or woman on Craigslist the other day, and they said they have a spot open.
Yeah, But I think that so in me moving there that first year, I kind of felt, and I lived, I made the mistake most people make when they moved to LA. Is I moved like directly in the middle of Hollywood. Everybody who moves to LA moves to Hollywood.
Yeah, because it's like, duh,
here is fake. And everybody who's actually from LA is either like South LA or they're West or North. And it's like nobody in Hollywood is from LA
at all.
So when you say LA is fake, you talking about everybody who's not from LA.
Correct.
So I moved directly to Hollywood, and I felt like that though. It was like depression and just like everybody here is like materialistic, and I literally lived down the street from the Hollywood Church of Scientology, and I just remember that feeling of just being like, yo, everybody out here is kind of for themselves, or they're for an image. They wear these like leather jackets, and they people lose their mind when they see a certain type of convertible drive by, or like whatever these girls look like, and the hair and the skin and all of this. And I just remember being like feeling an external pressure for people that's sort of like, yo, which gang you gonna join, because you got to join a gang, bro.
Make a decision.
Like, are you UCB? Are you Groundlings? Are you pull up to the comedy store? Are you gonna be one of these actors in one of these acting classes? Which class you gonna take? Which gang? It felt like very like, bro, you gotta join a gang if you want to get.
Not the gang.
That's what it felt like. Yeah, that first year I was just like, bro, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's and it's like, we need community, but how is it being fostered? How is it being started? Basically, like, what's the intention? Are you with me because you genuinely want to see me succeed? You're supporting me as a creative, or are you with me because you think my jokes are funny and you're going to steal from me, or whatever the case is? Which has happened to people. It's not happening. It has definitely happened, but there are times where you do go through those moments and you're like, oh shoot, that person was not good for me. And then you do meet people that are great for you. So I think it's just a matter of, it may take some time. You may not find your best friend when you first get to LA, or wherever you're living. But I think it's always a matter of, okay, well, who are you as a person, and what are you trying to attract, or where are you trying to go? And we've heard this a bunch of times in myriad of ways, but people can see who you are with who you hang out with. Like, the 5 friends you have, they can tell you where you're going or something, what I'm saying. But and it's like, if you look around and in the past year or so, you haven't made any progression, or haven't been able to create freely, or love freely, whatever the case is, and it's like, okay, something has to shift here.
Yeah. Which is one of my favorite things I heard from a friend of mine who's a really good actor. I knew him out of Chicago, but he's he's blowing up, doing amazing things. But he would talk about he called it the alchemy of proximity. Because in LA, it is true, like your wildest dreams, and somebody who has either achieved or is achieving, or just even has some energy that you need to feel, is right around the corner, you know, like those people, those opportunities, and even just like sometimes it's not necessarily, you know, you hope you make the right friends and you hang out with certain people, but sometimes it's like, you know, go where the people are doing what you want to do and just hang out and just watch what they're doing. Like sometimes it's like, hey, if you want to write a movie, it's weird. Go hang out at this coffee shop and write the movie. Like do that for a few hours a week. I bet you see people doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that's, you know, there's a few coffee shops that are just famous for that. Obviously, you know, if you want to meet somebody who's trendy or whatever, but
yes,
but that happens. Like there's, you know, and just go see shows, go see art exhibits or whatever it is. Like, and sometimes it's just watching them do what they do and just kind of being mesmerized by it. And sometimes you never know, like offer help. And sometimes those people will, if you're a good person and you're just hanging around, like I've seen a lot of opportunities happen that way. Yeah, but sometimes it's like, I think in a place like LA, and I think it's true, not even just in LA, but in the world. It's like you're so right about that. Like, and sometimes it's not just the 5 people you hang around. It's like, you know, just it's internal too, right? It's like, what have I been journaling about for the past 7 years? Why is this still? If I'm complaining about the same thing,
what? Yeah,
this
what's
thing keeps coming up on the page, or like
yes,
keeps saying the same thing to the same
yeah.
friend on the same day of the week after the same event. It's like, what part are you taking in contributing to a cycle that is keeping you in, you know, a barrier from what you really want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes I think about that. Like I had this sort of thought a couple years ago, where I was just like, I asked myself, like, if there's something that you're doing that does not match the vision in your head of your life, of your dream, of your higher self, if
Mm-hmm.
there's something that you're doing that doesn't match that vision, why is it still there?
Yes.
You know, and just be curious. Why is it still there? What's underneath that? Why am I doing that? Why am I hanging around those people? Why am
Yes.
I in my comfort zone? What is that? Why am I doing that? And then just kind of genuinely listen for the answer or search for the answer. And I think a lot of people would rather be comfortable. And people love to complain. People love to complain.
Yes. We don't do anything about it. Mm-hmm.
And so that's all part of it, man.
True. I believe it for sure. What you gonna do, ma'am? Change, obviously.
I
What is
don't
you change?
know. I'd rather just kind of just talk my trash.
And not do anything about it. That's. I'm like, no, please. I'm not the person. I'm really not the person to do that with, because I'll be like, what are we gonna do about it?
Oh yeah. I don't know. Like this is true. You know, so this is true. I can't lie. Like I do love a little hot gas. I'm not gonna lie. Like I love a little bit of hot gas. Like just sprinkle a little bit. I've been in enough writers' rooms where we talking about some celebrities that
Yeah.
should be booked on the show, and then somebody's like, "Ooh, I got a story about so and so." And you're like,
And you were like,
"Ooh, damn. Close it up, close it up, close it up, close it up."
Joel, please.
What did he do? What did he say? Damn. I do love a little hot gossip, but
Get out of here.
yeah, you know, I don't be on that in a way where I know it's like
Yeah.
really affecting my energy. Like I'm not searching for it.
No.
Yeah, because all are chaotic.
No, absolutely. He said, listen, oh my gosh, I can't deal with you, bro. Okay. Just a couple more questions.
Sure.
What event or series of events led to what seemed like a failure in your creative career, but it was actually a stepping stone toward a success you've been working for?
Oh man, I think that makes me think of just setting down. Every time I've taken a break in comedy,
Mhm.
and just been willing to know, like in 2018. This is one of the hardest things, but I think it's true. I had arguably one of the biggest successes is going to the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival as one of the new faces.
Mhm.
And I got it, and I was like kind of insane, and then I don't know. I felt I did that, and then I came back to LA. You know, that's in Canada. That was my first time leaving the country,
Mhm.
and it was kind of insane. And I did it, and then I came back, and I felt like this, just this kind of like, well, but who are you though?
Mm.
Like, and I don't think I answered that question um, sufficiently enough while I was there. You
Mhm.
know, it's a very networking event. You know what I mean? But yeah. And anyway, I kind of left. I left LA. I quit comedy. As far as I was concerned, I took a huge break, for like 2 or 3 months.
Mhm.
Um, and both that time and even last year, I had very strong thoughts of like, yo, are you willing to entertain the idea of leaving this here?
Mhm.
Are you okay as a human being if you never do entertainment again? Would you be okay?
Mm.
Could you set it down?
Wow.
And what else would you want to do while God still got you here? What else would you
Yeah.
want to do? What would be fulfilling? And
Yeah.
I've had those breaks, and I've really entertained that thought, and I answer it each time, but um, and it just so kind of happened where that first break I took, it sort of aligned with the pandemic, so wasn't nowhere to do comedy that was that great anyway.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing Zoom shows and all that BS,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, but by the time I came back, it was like I was willing to find authenticity and kind of talk about some things I was uncomfortable with talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like before I was doing jokes that I thought people would think was funny, you know. And then when I took a break and then I came back, I was like, I am I'm funny.
Mhm.
I'm talking about things that I think are important
Mhm.
and I'm funny. Instead of like, is this funny? Is this funny? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and you know, the whole accidental like indie comedy special came out of that. And and even like right now in Atlanta, like I'm on stage. I just got on stage a couple nights ago. They put me up at the Helium Comedy Club, and like I didn't even know I was going to go up. They just saw me there, and they were like, "Oh, do you want to do a guest spot?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Mhm.
Um, and it was just like uh, that was my number one goal. Like before I walked on stage, I was like, "I'm having fun." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
did my prayer, said things I wanted to say for God to like get me aligned and get me in a place where I felt free and funny and silly, and then I was, before I went up there, I was just like, man, I don't care what happens. I am having fun. So,
Yes.
how about you guys?
Yeah.
But there's such a different way to do it.
Hmm.
It's just energy. You're just trading energy. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the audience can feel when you're holding back or when you're just doing something that you think is safe.
Hmm.
You know, so yeah. So at least that's what that makes me think of. Yeah.
Having your voice, finding your voice, sticking to it consistently.
Yeah, just because you, I don't know, if you do what you think people like, then that's all you'll ever do. You know, like
Hmm.
I think you go to bed at night and when you're alone in your car or something, only you and God know when you phoned it in.
Hmm.
Like you know what I mean? Like, and I hate that feeling of like going to bed or being in my car and being like, ah, I did something safe. I said the thing that's anybody could have said that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anybody could do that joke.
Hmm.
Um, and I just hate that. I hate that feeling of like, yeah, it's being alone and knowing.
You
Some
could
people
have.
don't even do that to themselves, but like I know when I'll be like, bro, you got put all on the line, my boy.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And go for it and push the boundary beyond what you think would be acceptable to other people.
Yeah, and I don't know, like that's they'll surprise you, and sometimes you'll surprise you by being willing to say the thing that you're scared to say, and usually that thing you're scared to say is actually universal truth.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, yeah.
That's
All you
good.
gotta do is pay for it. You gotta pay. The way you pay for it is by being okay with like that
What-
moment after you say it. That's all it is.
It's like,
You gotta pay for it. It's like, y'all cool? Y'all good?
yeah.
I'm good. All
And you
right, I
try.
got 12 more punchlines that go with this premise. Are y'all okay? Y'all
Yes. Hey, hang in there with me. Thank you.
good?
Um, how do you keep moving forward in an industry that can feel or look like it's fickle?
Oh man, I want to know the same thing for you.
This is your internet. Okay?
Now, yeah, now I'm interested though.
Yeah.
Um, I heard somebody say this, and I think it's true. Like
Mhm.
sometimes you think of it as a lottery,
Mm,
and sometimes you've had big wins, so you keep showing up. You know, because remember that one time you won, bro. You won like this, bro. You got on. Now you back at the table, and you shooting with everybody else. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get anything, but I remember that one time where I banked out, like, boy, you know. So coming back because you're like, man, there's no telling what, you know, and sometimes you win big and you know, um, but I think um, it's I think for me, I know deep down, at least for me, like there's a part of me that does think about this as a business and is learning how to learn, uh, you know, figuring out what are those ways to propel yourself as an entrepreneur, thinking like an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
training your customers, training your clients, training your fans to be like, this is what I do. Whenever you come here, this is it. So if you
Yeah.
don't like this, you can go somewhere else.
Right.
And just practicing that and looking at what's working and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think like the artistic part of me is like, I think I have I don't know. There's something deep and internal where I keep coming back from, like I said, those big breaks, and some of them have been really depressing and just been like, just all sorts of like, thinking like, is my existence anything? Did I do anything while I was here?
Right.
Did I do anything?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Yeah.
And I think that part of me is what keeps me hungry to be like, well, I am alive.
Yes.
So God gave me another chance. He gave me another day. And so my existence matters. I got invited to the party again. God saved my life from that car accident. I didn't, I had a blood transfusion when I was like 9 days old. Like, I've almost drowned a couple times. Like, there's been so many things that could have took me out. Like, for real. I had a very accident prone childhood,
Mm-hmm.
but I think in general, like whenever I try to think about that every day
Yeah.
and practice that. It's like a forgiveness practice. Like I'm still learning how to be better and practice forgiveness for people that have hurt me and like people that I've hurt.
Yeah.
But part of that for me is like understanding like that every day I wake up, it's like, woo, oh, God forgave me for everything. That's crazy. Like he gave me a brand new slate. You could walk out the door, shower, you got another chance.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to do with that? You know what I mean? Like the people that you meet at a coffee shop or at the gas station or like at a grocery store, I just try to remember like, oh, like this is live. Like
Mm-hmm.
every droplet, we're all a part of life. So
Yeah.
your existence, the fact that you got invited again, something special, and you shouldn't hold your tongue. You shouldn't, not say that idea. You shouldn't be
Yeah.
a good boy or a good girl, and like sit in the back and play it safe because you're here. Like God literally was like, I'm gonna throw him in the game again. I'm gonna see you get to play. Here's the ball, and I don't know. I just think
Yeah.
I don't know where it leads. Like you know what I mean. None of us know what the path even looks like tomorrow. Sometimes, but I don't know. As I'm getting older, I'm very thankful, even though sometimes it can be hard to find gratitude, and sometimes you can be very take things for granted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's something inside me that's like, I want to do these things, and there's something internal. I don't know if it's internal. I don't know if it's spiritual, but it's like I keep having these pushes where it's like, hey, you gotta go say that thing, or nobody else is gonna be able to say it because
Yeah.
God gave it to you. You have to go say that.
Yeah.
And that part of me, I think that part of me is what brings me back to the artistry and creativity, but that's not so much like, oh, I have to get rich, oh, I have to get famous, oh, I have to get followers. It's like that other stuff is like, it's purpose driven. It's very,
Yes.
it's like, my body and my spirit knows somehow that like, yo, if you don't go say that thing, if you don't go do what you're supposed to do, you're dead. You are dead. Like I feel like spiritually dead if I don't
Yeah.
do these things.
Absolutely.
What about you? How do you kind of? Because it's fickle, man, right?
Yeah. Yes, I believe that for me, I always just think of I do my best to think, okay, what is success to you? And I'm like, well, success to me is doing what God has called me to do and whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
So, yes, a majority of what I'm supposed to be doing in life has to do with entertainment, absolutely. But there are other things that I'm going to be doing outside of entertainment that, you know, there are endeavors I need to complete in business or in fashion or in philanthropy. So I just always think to myself, okay, what is God calling me to do? Okay, do that to the best of your ability. Good night. Don't worry or concern, compare yourself to anyone or their journey, because and have heard this a million times, comparison is definitely the thief of joy. And also with comparison, you're like, oh, I want that person's life, but you don't know what they went through to get that to that point. So it's like, do you really want their struggles? If you knew what they struggled to get to that thing, would you really still want it? So I always try to think about that as well. Like, my journey is my own, and it's great and it's good enough. And I'll be helping people with my journey and being authentic and consistent with it. So within the industry, it's just kind of weird. It's been weird for a while. Obviously, we know that, but I'm thinking like, okay, but that doesn't negate the fact that you still have stories to tell. You still have things to share. You still have people to work with. So, the big four, big five companies are not going to can't dictate what God has called you to do. Like, your purpose is still in effect, even when the industry is doing its own thing. So I do my best to not to understand what's happening in the industry, understand what's happening in the world, absolutely, be informed. But
Yeah.
taking that information and praying and through, praying about it and just like, okay, but I still have to do these things. So that's how I've learned to navigate through that.
Yeah. You read the trades? Are you one of those people? You don't do that, do you?
I'll read IndieWire or Hollywood Reporter or
Yeah.
Deadline. I get some emails, and then if something's, I'm like, oh, that's cool. But I think for me right now, as a creative, I'm like, okay, but let's do more. See what's out there, absolutely, but there's so much producing you can be doing. I feel
Mm.
like I've consumed a lot, and I feel like consuming can hold you back from producing.
Yeah.
And I'm at the point where I can just feel, I'm like, no, you need to be producing more and not concerned about, don't worry about how it looks. Don't worry about this and this and that. Just put it out. You'll get better over time.
Yeah.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. And just giving myself grace and compassion through the beginning part. So yeah, I think it's just like, okay, well, what do you want to say? How do you want to feel? And then being consistent in that, and running with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Sort of like, yeah, it's almost like just, I don't know. It's the corniest thing in the world, but like knowing you're enough, like what you have is, that was it. That's
Yeah, no. Right. No, what you have is good.
Yeah, I feel like that. Like when I send an audition, or even just getting on stage, or a lot of those things
Hmm.
where you're just like,
I am enough.
I did it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
I need to prove that.
Right.
I have to do that. But yeah, it's a journey. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. Yeah.
I agree. And we're doing well. We're doing good. Um, you know. Last question. What is something that you would like to tell other creatives and within their journey?
Um, Other creatives. I think two things come to mind. Like, watch everything
Mm-hmm.
in the way that, like, if you want to be great at something,
Mm-hmm.
study everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, when I watch, sometimes I'll get in a mood and I'll only watch uh, female comedians who aren't black.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll go for like a couple weeks. Like,
Wow.
I've been for the last few months. I've watched like Marcella Arguello's special and uh, Hannah Einbinder and like um, Nikki Glazer, like,
Mm-hmm.
and just see how they move and how their rhythm and what are they talking about? Why are they doing it like that? How have they amassed this fan base? And
Yeah.
nothing to do with me. I'm a black man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I only were to watch Def Comedy Jam or only were to watch the original Kings of Comedy or Chappelle, I'm limiting. So anyway, I would say to people, like, if you want to be great at something, study everybody, study everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also just be nice, man. Like, life is short. I've made mistakes where I'm like, and I know some of my peers that I've come up with in comedy or in college or just other things where I'm so big on, like, I'm at a place in my life where, like, if it makes sense, I'm willing to have coffee with anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
been friends where I'm like, man, we had a bad argument, or we were just young and just stupid, or just something. There's
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things that can happen in the creative upcoming with other artists, and you're all trying to make something cool and learn from each other. But, like, yeah, I'm just learning, like, man, this thing is short. Speaking of fickle, like, just life is just so fragile, man. And
Yeah.
there's still people where I'm just like, man, I don't. It doesn't really make sense. I know I don't have to, like, apologize to this person, or, like,
Mm-hmm.
I know they don't have to apologize to me either. But, like, sometimes I just send out signals to the universe like that. I just, like, I hope they're okay. Like, I pray that whoever they're around is like loving them, like,
Yeah.
and that they're doing better than I could even imagine. Like, and I
Right.
think sometimes that is enough. So that by me practicing that, like, there's that forgiveness and just kind of letting things go in that way, that if I do run into them, or if whatever,
Yeah.
I won't have that in here anymore, and I'll be like,
Right. Absolutely.
yo, how are you? Like, what's
Yeah.
up? Yo, it's so good to see you. And yeah, I don't know. I think the world is small, and people remember everything, man. Remember your energy, and yeah, I would just tell people, just be nice to everybody, but not just because of what it does for your business. Be
Mm-hmm.
nice to everybody just because we're all a bunch of people living on a rock,
Yeah.
and it all matters, all that energy matters. So
Absolutely. That's good. That's good, friend. Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
growing.
We're growing. Growth. Where can the people find you? Where you at? Where you
Yeah,
be? Is.
for everything you need, just show up to therealjoelboyd.com, or I'm on all platforms at the real Joel Boyd. So TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram, and yeah, we're hopefully by the time this airs, we're bringing back the podcast very soon. So check out High Power Podcasts with Joel Boyd and Ralph Laguerre.
Yeah.
Well, anywhere you can get any platform where you can find a podcast. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I enjoyed myself.
Good. As long as you were having fun.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about anybody. I don't care about you or anybody watching.
I'm having fun.
I had fun. So
cool. Well, thank you.
We look at the camera. Hope you guys too. Can we just freeze frame? And the credits roll. Okay.
I'm gonna do it just like that. Perfect. This is my friend, y'all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is my friend for real. Thank you so much, Joel. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode of Behind the Lens. Make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, Maya Simone, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.